Grateful Dead say it's been a long, strange trip.
All right. Hi, friends. My name's Helen.
Howdy.
My pronouns are they, she, or anything offered with love. And I am your High Street UU media specialist, and I'm so excited to be here with Arlen, who has some updates about a very awesome, top secret, high stakes project going on at High Street at starting at the first of the year. What have you got for us, Arlen?
Well, I don't know if it's top secret or not, but it is high stakes. We're making a huge decision to move toward a more accessible worship space, more flexible, by getting rid of some 100-year-old pews and bringing in some bright new chairs.
Who approved that?
Well, this was approved by the board back in September and reaffirmed by the board just a few weeks ago. I had brought a proposal to them back in September, and interestingly enough, I actually thought they would just look at it and talk about it and get back with me, but they approved it 100% unanimously at that meeting.
Now, how long have you been a UU?
I've been a UU and at High Street for 34 years. Before that, I was a uh, Southern Baptist and Presbyterian pastor.
In your 34 years with High Street, have you ever experienced a project moving at this speed?
Actually, I was really surprised at the speed that this has developed. Like I said, I expected the board to talk about it for a month or two before they approved it, but they approved it that night, and like I said, reaffirmed it a couple of weeks ago. So we're moving pretty quickly now.
I think High Street might be a case study in reevaluating our expectations of church speed.
Right.
I've actually been very impressed with how eager and excited the congregation is to get on board with stuff like TikTok and social media and memes.
It is interesting. I sense that we have a lot more energy in our congregation right now than we've had in recent years. I think part of that is is attributable to Reverend Amanda being our minister now, and with you coming on board as our media specialist. We've seen some things being done that we never thought we would do before, and frankly, some things I actually opposed in the past. So it's been quite interesting trip for all of us.
Um, can you say a bit about that experience of seeing some stuff that maybe you were really against and came around to?
Uh, I grew up in that atmosphere that was much more formal in worship, and the idea of projecting hymns onto screens or onto walls, the idea of the minister moving around with a lavalier mic instead of standing behind a pulpit, that goes contrary to a lot of what I grew up with. But we have to grow with the times, and I've discovered that I actually like some of the things that we've been doing. It's been quite an interesting ride.
That's exciting. Can you say some about the accessibility piece? So High Street does have a great commitment to accessibility, and we also have 100-year-old building, over 100 years, I think.
Right.
So sometimes those two things can be a little difficult to navigate together.
We have been thinking about accessibility for quite a while. As a matter of fact, when we renovated our sanctuary, we did put in a lift so that all three levels of our sanctuary and our fellowship hall and basement, they're all accessible. But we've noticed in recent years, particularly with the pews, that the pews are a bit inflexible and do not promote accessibility. Over the last 18 months, we've actually gotten rid of a number of pews simply because they were deteriorating. Some of them are probably close to 100 years old, and to be honest, we've been repairing them. Oh, I guess for at least 20 or 30 years. So it's been an interesting process to see some of those go out and us making a little bit more room in our sanctuary so that those who have particular movement challenges are much more able to find their way about our sanctuary and to participate. Our our platform is accessible because we put in a ramp a number of years ago, and recently we actually added a step on the front so that folks who can manage steps can actually get onto the platform a little easier. We're now looking to put in some handrails, and that project is in process at this time as well.
Awesome. Now, I've heard that there are some very high stakes committee decisions involved with this project. I know that the the stakes are high. I don't know if tension's high, but I know that there are some big decisions that have to happen, such as what color chairs and if they are going to have arms or not, or how many of them will have arms. Can you give us an update on some of those high stakes choices and progressions?
Well, I just recently ordered the third set of color swatches for our committee to look at, so they're still a little indecisive. They do have settled on a couple of color swatches. I think one of those is Academy Blue by one of our vendors, and this week they were looking at a couple of purple swatches. A lot of this has to do with bringing out the colors in our stained glass windows. So we want to make sure that the chairs that we purchase fit in with that. So we're looking at several different colors. Hopefully, we'll have something settled by the end of this week so I can order a couple of sample chairs for people to actually look at and sit in.
How many chairs are we trying to get? I saw on the Faithify we're looking for $20,000 worth of chairs. How many does that add up
We're,
to?
we're actually looking at the current uh, estimate that we have is around 15 to 20,000. We're ordering about 100 chairs at this point in time. About one third of those will be with arms, so that we'll be able to place them strategically throughout the congregation so that folks that have little difficulty standing would have that resource available to them.
See, okay. Oh, actually, this was a different type of question, but so this will probably be or this will be the last holiday season in High Street with the pews as they are.
Mm-hmm.
What maybe would you have to say to any of your fellow congregants who might have feelings about that, or might be like, hey, that's a pretty big change, or might be feeling some type of way about all that?
Well, it's interesting. We have had some folks evidence some desire both to keep the pews and not see them go, and some, sadness, and even just a tinge of, I won't say anger, but pique maybe is the best way to put it. Uh, but I think that the majority of our congregation now, we're a generation or two away from the group that actually purchased the building that we're in now. It's a historic sanctuary that's, like you said, it's over 100 years old. I think it's about 125 years old now. So we have had some resistance, but the majority of our congregation right now is excited about change. We are looking for some, it is the last holiday, but we're going into a new year, and a new year brings new challenges, new opportunities. We're seeing a lot of new faces. I can't remember a Sunday in recent months when we haven't had visitors or newcomers. So I just think that we're open right now to new things, and I think this is a great time for us to be making this change.
Um, what do you have to say maybe to some of those newcomers, or maybe people who have been thinking about checking us out, or might be on the fence?
Hold on to your hat. I think we're going to be seeing even more changes in the next couple of years. I think that some of our new folks are bringing in new ideas of their own.